we people knew what percentages were so far. We know the ways to calculate the percentage of anything, but then we started to see a few examples, and then we realized that okay, there are also new methods to solve the percentages, and there are some concepts that we need to understand, and one of those concepts was fractions. Fractions to percentages and percentage to fractions was something that was needed at that moment for you to understand and to have a better calculation speeds. So that is what we decided yesterday. And then after doing that, we tried to solve a few questions, at least like I guess it was somewhere close to 10 to 15 or more than 15 questions. Ramu or Rohan, कितने questions करे थे कल? Was it 10 to 15 or more than 15? Somewhere around this, right? Okay. So we decided doing that, and maybe by the end of the last question or by the end of last at the last 3 to 4 questions, we had seen also a few verbally complicated, I should say verbally complicated problems. They were not mathematically complicated, but verbally complicated. So this is what happened till yesterday. So do you affirm what happened yesterday until yesterday? Is this what happened? Did we miss anything? I know, guys. I know that you can respond in the chat box with all the emojis as we spoke yesterday. So do not stop yourself from communicating with me. So please do communicate on the questions at least, if not during the explanations, but at least to the questions that I ask. Okay. So this is what happened till yesterday, and for today, we had already decided what would happen today. So today we had decided that okay, we are gonna dive deeper into the percentages concepts and solve more questions. And once we solve these questions, we're gonna again solve a set of random questions paper. So we will check the random questions paper and we'll see how better can we answer the percentages question. And once we are done with the percentages, then we move on to the first category, other concepts. That could be either simple and compound interest, profit and loss, or average based on what you people ask. So that is a plan for today. So are we all good to start? So are we all ready to start, students? Yes. Shall we start, or I think we have 34 participants? Should we wait? Yep. All right. So very good then. And Lakshmi Narayana, since you were not here yesterday and the day before, so there are basic few rules in our sessions that we try to communicate as much as possible, keep it interactive. So you can always respond into the chat box with the messages or with the emojis that you can use over there. And always confirm your affirmation or denial of whatever I say on the screen. And you can ask me to repeat any question any number of times. I'd be happy to do that. Okay. All right then. So welcome to the sessions, and then we shall. Okay, sorry. What happened? Yeah, we shall start. Let me just do one thing. Uh, and also I've seen a lot of students like going on and off. Maybe it is about the data. So turn on the data savers if you have that option. Turn on the data savers that you can do it maybe in your mobile phones. That could help you not get out of the session because of the data inefficiency. Okay. And Rohan, share the recordings. I guess the recordings are stored in some kind of a drive, Rohan. When firstly it would get recorded on my screen, and I mean in my laptop, and then we would transfer it to some kind of a drive. I'll uh, I'll see what can be done. Maybe I don't know how is it accessed or someone. I mean, so who accesses it? Let me just make sure who accesses it, and I'll communicate that with you. Okay. जब तक ये वाला solve करते हैं on screens. So a person saves every year 20% of his income. If his income increased every year by 10%, then his savings increases every year by what? right? Okay, Lakshmi already has the answer. Very good. A person saves every year 20% of his income. If his income is increased every year by 10%, then his savings increases every year by what? So guys, first thing that comes to your mind is like, why can't I just subtract 20% and 10% and then go ahead with it? Then why can't that be the answer? But you know why can't it be the answer? Because we are talking about percentages. And whenever we speak about percentages, we know that this is calculated for every 100. For every 100. That means if the income and his savings, both of these are equal, that means if this is 100 and this is 100, only then you can subtract 20 minus 10, which is equals to 10. But they can't be equal because income is usually higher than the savings. So you cannot straight away subtract the percentages. You can only subtract the percentages when the basic quantity or the base quantities are equal. When the base quantities are equal, only then you can subtract whatever the percentages on both the sides, because they carry the same value. Okay, like for suppose if I say 40% of 100 minus 20% of 100, this can be written as 40 minus 20, which is 20% of 100, because you'll obviously get the same answer, because here it is 40 and here it is 20. Then you can get the 40 minus 20, 20. This answer you can get because the base quantities are equal. Unless and until the base quantities are equal, you cannot subtract the percentages. That is the first key takeaway from this question. Okay, this is the first key takeaway from this question. Now, coming to the solution of it. Let me erase the top part of the screen. Yeah. Okay. Now, because you don't know what the income is and what the savings are, usually what we do, we go and assume that, let's say the income is 100, let's say. So every year his income increases by 20%. So first year it was 100, second year it would be 120, third year it would be how much? 20% over this, right? So one 24, sorry, 144, because 24 you increase it. And he says that savings are 10% every year. Savings increase by 10. Sorry, these are the savings, right? Okay. A person saves 20% of his income every year if his income increased by 10%. Sorry, man. I read it ulta. Okay. Income increased by 10% and the savings increased by 20%. Okay. I mean, savings are 20%. So income increased by 10%. So this is how the income increases. And he saves 20% of it. So 20% of saving this one is like 20 rupees itself. And if he saves 20% here, he'll go with 22. If he saves 20% here, he'll go with how much? 12.1 into 2, 24.2. Yeah. If you see the difference over here, it is 2 and here it is 2.2. And observe the difference in terms of percentages. 2 out of 10, I mean 2 out of 20 is 10%. 2.2 out of 22 is 10%. And maybe the next one would also follow the same trend over there. So if you observe carefully, the savings are getting increased by 10% every year. Savings are getting increased by 10% every year. All right. What happened? Someone answered option B 5%. No one answered that. I mean, why did you delete that? You shouldn't be deleting any of the messages in the chat box. Excuse me. Yeah, 5P7. Let's do it once again. Let me just erase this part. This still holds true. You cannot subtract the percentages all the time. In this case, maybe the answer you got in that term, but that is not true all the time. So this key takeaway still holds true. That's not, I mean, that doesn't mean that, okay, we got 10%, so every time we will subtract the percentage. No, you cannot do that. Okay, Ramu and 5P7, I'll be repeating it. Don't worry. Don't worry, I'll repeat that. Okay. So fine. The question everyone understood the question. The person saves every year 20% of his income. If his income increased by 10% every year, then his savings increase by what is the question? So he's saying first let us check the income part. So if the income during the first year was 100 rupees, so he's saying in this by the second year it will increase by 10%. So this one has increased by 10%, and in the third year it will increase again by 10%, which is 121, and in the fourth year again it will increase, that is 131.2. Let's say, like, sorry, 133.1. It goes on and so on and forth. Okay. And if you observe, savings are only 20%. Savings is not increasing, savings is still the constant. So savings is 20% of any amount. So 20% of 100 will be 20. Yeah. And 20% of 110 is how much? 10% is what? What is 10% of 110? I told you how to calculate that, right? What is 10% of 110? 11, and 20% would be 11 into 2, 22, right? And then this one, 10% will be 12.1. 10% will be 12.1 here. What did I say? So the last digit, if you have a decimal just before the last digit, it will be the 10%. Okay, it will be the 10%. So here 10% is 12.1. So if you multiply it with 2, you will get the 20%. That is 24.2. You can also calculate for this one. Now, if you check what do you need? You need how do the savings increase? At like what trend do they follow? How much percentage does that increase? If you observe this one, let's say this is the initial value, this is the final value. So according to the definition of the percentages, you should always subtract the final value and the initial value, and you always take the base value, right? This is what you're going to take. So you are going to see that it is 2 out of 20 that is getting increased. So 2 out of every 20 is getting increased, right? So as per the percentage, it is 1 by 10. So as per the fractions, 1 by 10 is what? 10%. Is that clear? 5P7 and Ramu, clear? Yes. Okay. I hope others also understood. If you have any question, please do ask me. For now, I'm moving on to the next question. Next one. Great. Okay. The population of a town increases by 10% every year. You see these kind of questions, like they are following a trend. Like they are not just put in a random way, but they are following a kind of a trend wherein you will see a set of questions which have been asked a lot of times in some kind of an exam, that are lined up at one point, and then the other set of questions, and then comes the other set of questions in that way. Okay, so yeah, getting back to the question, the population of a town increases by 10% every year. If the population in the year 2009 is 80,000, and then the population in the year 2011 will be what? So you see that there is a trend of increment of 10% every year. That means, like, from 2009 to 2011, you are trying to find out how much did it increase. So you have 2009, 2010, and 2011. So that means what? You have 1 year increment here, and you have second year's increment over here. That is what you're trying to find out. Okay. Now in the year 2009, it was 8,000. Sorry, 80,000. It was 80,000. So after a 10% increment, how much will that turn out to be? So 10%. Okay, you need to add 10% to 80,000. What is 10% of 80,000, everyone? Simply just remove the last zero. So this will be the 10%. So 8,000. So it will be 88,000, right? Okay. And then again an increment here after this one. So 88,000 plus 10%. So what is the 10% of 88,000? 8,800. Just remove the last zero. It will turn into 10%. So 8,800. So 8,800 plus 88,000. That is 96,800. Should it be 97,800? Should it not be 97,800? Just add up 8,800 to 88,000. No, it is 96,800. Yeah. Okay. Clear? Clear with this one? Yes, option A is true. Very good. 593, 485, 426 and Ramu. Very good. All right. So let me just tell you a small relation behind this one. I mean, a small concept behind this one. This, if you observe, is a concept of compound interest. What does compound interest mean? Compound interest means that the percentage of the interest that is put on the latest amount. Okay, not on the basic amount, but on the latest amount. Whereas simple interest is always, I mean, simple interest always represents the interest that is levied on the basic amount, or that is on the principal. That's on the principal. Okay. So if you observe here, the concept that you're looking at, which is the increment increment after every year, is the concept of compound interest. So if you know very clearly, you need to understand something. There are multiple formulas to calculate the compound interest. But if you have this concept in the mind, that after every year are going to increase, and the latest the interest is always on the latest amount. If you have this concept in the mind while you are solving the compound interest problems, you would not require any kind of formulas. You would not require any kind of formula. Okay, let's have this thing in the mind. And when we are solving the compound interest problems, I'll be using the same concept. I'm not going to use any formulas over there. No, we're not going to use any kind of formulas. We're going to use this concept over there, be it anything. Okay, is this clear, everyone? Shall we move on to the next question? Clear? Yes, no? Yeah, all right, thank you. Okay, Lakshminarana, you can also contribute to the chat box. Yes, you can always contribute to the chat box. And today Dhatrija is silent. What? Why you're not doing it, or what happening? Okay, the next question is on your screens. The cost of manufacture of an article is made up of 4 components A, B, C, D, which have a ratio 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, Dhatrija, if you want us to go slow, we'll go slow. Not just Dhatrija, others too, because yesterday by the end of the session, few of you asked us to make it a bit less pace here. So just do let me know if you think we are hurrying up, okay? Do let me know, Dhatrija. ఒకవేళ అలా అనిపిస్తే నాకు ఒక మాట చెప్పండి, మెల్లగా వెళ్దాం మళ్ళీ. ఓకే, అట్లేం లేదా? సరే, ఫైన్. या ओके रोहन, बताओ ना फिर. ठीक है. The cost of manufacture of an article is made up of 4 components A, B, C, D, which have a ratio 3, 4, 5, 6. If there are respective changes in plus 10%, minus 20, minus 30, plus 40, then what would be the percentage change in the cost? Now, you need to understand something over here. I'll explain the question first, then give the time for you to solve it. So please look at the screens. It's concentrate on the concept of this question firstly. So he says there is an article which is made up of 4 different components. So let's say this is some component, okay, and this is made up of 4 different. So that is one article, and that's made up of 4 different components, uh, A, B, C, and D. And these A, B, C, and D are in the ratio 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, what will be the cost of this article? The cost of this article will be the cost of 3 parts of A plus 4 parts of B plus 5 parts of C plus 6 parts of D, right? The cost of this article will be the cost of 3 parts of A plus 4 parts of B plus 5 of C plus 6 of D. Would you agree with that, everyone? Very good, Lakshmi Narayana. Would you agree with this, everyone? Then, if that is the cost of the article, then what you're going to do? You have to, now the question also, the second statement of the question says, there are some respective changes, which says that the first one increases by 10%, second one decreases by 20, third one decreases by 20 or 30, fourth one increases by 40 again. So you can do one thing. What you can do is, like, you can again try to consider the values of these ratios. These are the ratios. These are not the absolute values. For you to have the absolute values of the ratio, you need some kind of a constant with which you could multiply that. Okay, absolute values. So in this case, the ratios are 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now let's say you have a constant of 10. Then the absolute values will be 30, 40, 50, and 60. These would be the absolute value. That means how much is the article costing now? So let's say this is the cost of each part of each of those. So this will cost you 30 plus 40 plus 50 plus 60. Initially 110, 150, 180. Initially this is 180. But now there is an increment. This is an increment of 10%. There is a decrement of 20%. There is a decrement of 30% here. And there is an increment of 40% here. Now this was the initial cost of the article. Now let us see. How much is 10% of 30? What is 10% of 30 now? Okay, guys, just a second. Yeah. Very good, fine, Aditya. All right. So this is point number one. All right. So do let me know which point you are stuck at, or which point you want me to repeat later when I ask you for the questions, or when you have any doubt. Okay, I'll number them every time. So 3% you are going to add 30 plus 3 over here. So this number would become 33 altogether. And here you have to subtract 20%. You know what is 10% here? 10% is 4. 20% will be how much? Double of that, 88. Sorry, 20% will be 8. So 40 minus 8, you'll have your new number here, 32. And then coming to the third one, 30%. 10% is 5. 30% will be how much? 3 times 5, which is 15. So 50 minus 15, which is 35. And then the last one, 60 plus 40% of 60. You know that 10% is 6. 40% will be how much? 4 into 6, 24. 60 plus 24, 84. Now let us check the total cost here. 33 plus 32 is how much? 65. 65 plus 35, it is 100. 100 plus 84 is 184. Now you see that there is a difference in the cost there. Initially it only costed 180, but now it has costed 4. I mean, sorry, 4 extra. That is 184. So how would you calculate it again? So 184 minus 180 by 180. Always final value minus initial value by initial value. This is how the fraction is to be defined. Okay, so it is 4 out of 180 that is getting changed. You can calculate the percentage here just by multiplying it with 100, or what you can do is you can just say 1 by, it is 45. So 1 by 45, how can you write that? 1 by 45, you can say it is as I mean, if you ask me, there are multiple ways of writing 1 by 45, but you can calculate it here. What is the percentage? And do let me know what's the percentage, and I'll tell you how you can calculate that from this number also. Rohan, समझ में आया? Option B 2.2, very good. Lakshmi Narayana already answered it as 2.2, very good Lakshmi Narayana. 614, option B, and then 599, option B, very good. Ramu, you're doing it. Got it. All right. What did you get? 2.2. Okay, so if you ask me now, just look at this point where you can calculate the percentage from this fraction, which is 1 by 45. You can also do it from here. No worries, you can do it from there. Here, if you look at it, you can write this one as 2 by 90. Yeah, 1 by 45 is 2 by 90. That means it is 2 by 9 into 1 by 10. We were talking yesterday about the percentages. You remember? I told you about the fractions and the percentage in which I wrote 1 by 9 is 11.11 and so on. So how much will be 2 by 9? It will be 22.22. So if you see here, it is 2 by 9 into 1 by 10. That is 22.22 by 10, which is nothing but 2.2%. See, knowing the fraction percentages gives you an edge of solving the questions, I mean, solving the calculation without using the actual form of a percentage part. Any questions, anyone? Did everyone get the answer? Anyone, any questions? Please do let me know, students. Rohan, कर लिए? And were you able to solve it? 5R3. 5R3, 5K8. Are you there? 5P8. Yesterday you were doing it also. 5K8 was also here. Yeah. All right. Very good. Very good. So if you have any questions, do let me know. I'll get back. No problem. The next one. Two successive discounts of 25% and 20% are equal to a single discount of what? Now, two successive discounts of 25 and 20 is equals to one uh, percentage of what? One equivalent discount of what is the question? Okay, so we have two more students. Yep. Option A, 45%. Okay, so that means what you're saying. So the first, let's say it would have been 100, but then on 25% of discount first, it will turn into 100 minus 25, it is 75, right? And then on which you're again giving a discount of 20%. So 75 minus 20% of 75. So you're saying that 25 and 20 are adding it up and you're doing it as 40. But is that true? Can you do it that way? Again, remember one thing. Only when you think of these numbers in this horizontal format, very good 593. In this format of writing, in this format of interpretation, you can understand that this is again a sample of compound interest. This is again a sample of compound interest because you are saying, okay, after the first let's say after the first 1 year or after the first installment, there is a decrement of 25% in the interest. Then after that, there is a decrease of 20% again. Yes, very good, Lakshminarayana, very good, 599, 485, very good. So how are you going to do that? So firstly, I have to reduce 100 after first year into 25%. So 100 by my 100 minus of 25% of 100, which will give you the answer 75. But then you have to again reduce this by 20%. That is 75 minus 20% of 75. So how will you calculate 20% of 75 again? So 10% is 7.5. Just put a decimal after the last digit, and then 20% will be 15 into 2 kada. That's 15. So 75 minus 15 is equals to 60. So as in compared to the initial value, that is here 100 to 60, how much did it decrease? It decreased 40. So 40 out of 100 is how much? Again 40%. So two successive discounts of 25% and 20% will be equivalent to 40%. Okay, is that clear, Rohan? Now you understand why you should not straight away add the percentages all the time. I'm telling it to you. When it is the case of percentages, do not add them directly. There is always some or the other case behind it. You need to understand that interpretation of data. We'll get to that point. I hope everyone understood this one. I'm moving on to the next question. If you want me to stop, just let me know it. Okay. Next one. Next question on your screens. The length and breadth of rectangle is increased by 20% and 30% respectively. Then what percent of changes in its area? Okay, what percentage changes in its area? Let's remove the word off. Yeah, now it sounds correct. Okay, so you have a rectangle. A rectangle could be like this also. By way of, I don't know why I'm drawing the same way. Okay, it is the length, this is the breadth. Okay, it's like length is increased by 20% and breadth is increased by 30%. Okay, breadth is increased by 30%. Now he's asking, usually the area is length into breadth, but now after increment, how much will the area increase is the question. Okay, 56%. Very good, Narayana. So what do I call you? I should call you Lakshmi Narayan Sharma. I can call you Sharma. Okay. Can I call you Sharma? All right. Fine. So again, you need to understand one thing. You can consider the length and breadth as some values and then proceed with that. Try, give it some trial over there. Take a minute, give it a try, and then let's proceed. Consider any value of length and breadth. Just take easier values that could, take the values that are easier to calculate. Don't complicate it. Don't take length equals to 36.5 or 36 or 42. Don't take such kind of assumptions. Assumptions are supposed to make your solution easier, not complicated. Yeah, very good. 45, very good. 599, very good. Dhatrija. Okay. What are the numbers that you assumed? Like, how did you assume the values of length and breadth? And you see it that none of you are sitting together, but all of you are forming on the same option, even with the different assumptions of length and breadth. I'm hoping you're taking different assumptions of length and breadth. So 599 has taken 80 and 20. What were your assumptions, Dhatrija? What were your assumptions? 485, yours Sharma, and yours 599. What were your assumptions? Like how much value did you take for length and how much value did you take for breadth? You see, any different value of length and breadth is giving you the same answer. Is giving you the same answer. 120 and 130. Dhatrija says, okay. See, you have different values of length and breadth, but you're still forming on the same answer. So let me consider 599s. Okay, so he or she has considered 80 and 20. So 80 on the length, breadth is 20. So if you consider a 20% increment in the length, 20% of this will be 16. So 80 plus 16 is 96. And breadth, if you increase it by 30%, so the 10% is 2, 30% will be 6. So this will be 26. Now, area will be 80 into 20 here, which is 1600. And here it will be whatever, how much of the value you get. 96 into 26, and then you're trying to compare these two and find out the percentage. 56% is what you're getting. Okay, so yep, that's one way of doing it. I was just thinking if we can avoid the calculation also. Can we avoid the calculation in any way? Okay, for now, let's keep it this way, assuming and doing it. But then okay, let's see it. For now, this is okay. This is okay. You can still follow this method and try and get that. Any value of length and breadth you can consider, and then just increase them by the percentage that are given in the question, and you can see that there's a change in that. Okay. All right. So shall we move on to the next question? Just stop me if you have any questions or anything on this slide before I move on to it. Okay. The next question on your screens. And also do let me know if you need us to go a bit slower again. Keep me informed all the times. Okay. I might just get drifted with the pace that you are answering in, but I want everyone to have a equal contribution here. So please do let me know. Okay, the population of town is 5,000. If the males increases, if the number of male increases by 6% and the number of females increase by 14% of the population will be 5,500. Find the number of females in the town. A nice question. Similar, okay, you can consider this one similar to the previous one. Like if you read it in the terms of the previous question, the area of the rectangle was 5%, the length increased by 6% and the breadth increased by 14%, the area, new area will be 5500. Find the breadth of the rectangle. If you just read the question in different terms or in the terms of the previous question, that is how it will be appearing to you. Okay, so considering the question as it is given on the screen, let us try and solve it. Okay, do you need a minute to solve it? You can take a minute to solve it. Until then, I'll just try and interpret the data on my screen so that it will be easier for us to solve it later. You people, please go on, try and solve it. I'll just write down the numbers here and there so that I have an idea, basically. Okay, so I'll start from here. So 5,000 is a population. So you have male and female. So let's write male and female. Male increased by 6%, female increased by 14%. Then the population became 5,500. That's it. So this is how I interpret the data. This is how you can interpret the data. Okay. Option C says 2,500. Very good. 685. You have reached an answer. I don't know if there's the right answer or wrong, but yeah, let us see if others also have the same answer. Then you can proceed. Very good. 685. Now there are again multiple ways of looking at this particular question. You can always go on with option verification. There's nothing wrong in doing the option verification. I always support the option verification part. You can do that. Okay. And also remember, whenever the question says that find the number of females in the town, this kind of terminology is always used to find out the initial values. That is before increment value. Okay. This kind of terminology is always used to find out the initial value before the increment has been done. That is what the question question represents. Does not represent the final value. Okay. All right. Very good, Sharma. Sharma also has the same option. To an original population compared 685. You did that. Yeah, you can do that also. So in that case, okay, let's say 685 followed the option verification itself, right? So you are directly considered option C, 685. Let's say option C, okay, 2,500. If there are 2,500 females, that means there are 2,500 male, because the total should always be equals to 5,000. Now if you increment female by 14% and if you increase the male population by 6%, you should be having 5,500 as a total. That's the basic idea of the question. So if I increase 2,500 by 14%, so let's say what is 10% of 2,500? It is 250. 250 is a 10%. 1% is how much? 25. 4% will be how much? 100. So 250 plus 100, 350. So you're going to add 350 to this to make it increase by 14%. So this value will be 2,850. 6%. So 1% is 25. 6% will be how much? 25 into 6, which is 150. So this will be 2,650 if you add. Okay. Now, on adding these two, you should be evaluating that to 5,500. Check if that equation is true. Like LHS should be equals to RHS. So that you can write hence proved. This one. It gives a lot of satisfaction to write like this. Okay, let's check. So 2,850 plus 2,650. So 2,900, 3,500 plus 2,000. Okay, 5,500. This is equating it, right? So option verification is working fine. That's how we can do it, 685. That's good. That's good that you followed this method. But tell me, before reaching to 2,500, did you not check with the other options? Okay, first option is obviously not a case to check. But did you also check with the option B? Did you also check with option B? Did you come in a chronological order? Like, did you do it from A, B, C, D or D, C, B, A? You had to check the other option also, right? Now you tell me, when you have, okay, now here you have a lot of difference, because we can straight away eliminate the option 5,000. You can do it. But what if the options were 2,550, 2,850, 2,500, or like 2,600 here? and then option D you have 2500. So in this case, are we still going to calculate for each of them? Because option verification is like you have to have all the options verified. You can't just randomly get the right answer all the time, right? So అది ఒక problem అవుతుంది కదా. That is one thing where you maybe lose some time. But let me assure at this point, after these sessions that we're going to have in the next few days, you are also going to find out that option verification also has a method. Option verification is not always done randomly. It's not like you always choose only the correct answers of, I mean, correct option and then verify it. No, it's not that way. You'll also see that there are methods to choose the options which one to verify. I'll tell you what are those in the next coming sessions. You'll see them. But for this question, I'd also like to go on without using the option verification method. Okay, let's say this is method one. Now, there might be some of you who can ask me like, sir, why only option verification? Why not some other method? Like, why don't we try it? Yeah, we can try it. So consider this point here. Okay. So now when you see that there is a difference in the male and female population increase when compared to the total increment of the population. As in when compared to the total increment of the population. Did you observe that point? Did you observe that point there? So if you see that 14% increment in male and 6% increment in female resulted in 500 increment of the total population. That means if I say 8% increment in the population, we are talking about people here, 14% people and 6% people. There are not different units. It's the same unit. They are the people here. Here also they are people, maybe male and female, but they are people. They are human beings. So 8% is causing an increment of how much? 500. That means if it is I mean, if it is 8%, if 8% is 500, that means like 1% is. Can I calculate 1% from that? I think I can, right? It is 50. Can I calculate that point? Just wait. Let me just check if we can calculate that. If is it 8%? Yeah, if it is 8%, 8% is 500. Okay, then 1% will be how much? 50 something. 52.5. Is that it? 5. No, not 52.5. Say what 52? I'm saying. Uh, 62.5. Sorry, it's 62.5. So 1% is 62.5. Then can we go ahead with this kind of solution? No, I'm just checking if I can still go ahead with this kind of solution. Yeah, this is 2.5. Sorry, it is increment, right? Okay, okay, sorry. Why am I taking the difference? Sorry, increment it is. It's not the difference. I mean, it has increased, right? It has not reduced. It has increased. So increment in both. Thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for 93. So yeah, the number of people have increased. They have not reduced. Sorry, I was taking the other way around. So yeah, 20% increment in people resulted in 500 change in the total population. If 20% is 500, then you know that if I just multiply this with this one, that is 2500. That is 2500 on each side of it. So it is 2500 here and 2500 here. You can then verify that if you increase it with 14%, how much will it go? If you increase it with 6%, how much will it happen? You can verify them both. You will still get the same option because if you just checked it, right? You just checked like how much is 100%, how much is 100%. When I say 100%, it is up to like each of these. It is each of these. Is this one clear? Second method, is it clear, or shall I repeat that one? I know I think I made it a bit clumsy over there. Do you want me to repeat that? Do you want me to repeat it? Anyone? అర్థమైందా అసలు ఏమైనా అక్కడ? Did you understand anything over there? Okay, I'll repeat it. Wait. Yeah. All right. So first thing, okay, don't do the mistake that I did. What I did is like I took the difference in the percentage, but no, it is not difference, right? They are getting added up. Like the new population is getting added up. So if you are saying added up, there 20% in the whole change in the number of people, be it male and female, is giving us a difference of 500 in the total population. So if 20% is 500, I'm saying what will be the 100% population then? Just multiply it with 5, and here also you can multiply it with 5. So you will get 500 into 5 is 2500. Now this 2500, this 100% that I'm talking, it represents each of these. It represents each of these. That means the male population 2500 and the female population 2500. Each of these. Now, now we have got our answer. We know the population is 2500. Now we got our answer here straight away. But to cross verify it, to just make sure that that's the right answer, what you can do is you can still increment these by 14%, one of these by 6%, and one of that by 14%, and then you can cross verify that, okay, is it really causing a difference of 500, or is the population really increasing by 5, I mean really going up to 5500, yes or no, just to have a verified answer that way. Now did you understand? No, the solution of the problem ends here. This is solution verification. Now here is where you get the answer, but this is answer verification. Now did you understand? Does that ring any bells there? Huh? Okay, very good. So from the next time onwards, you need to make sure. See, you saw a few problems in the previous questions where you should not be subtracting or adding messages. But here, I mean, adding percentages. But here you see that. Okay. If the initial values are same, only then we can add the percentages. Um, yeah, that's also one condition 5K. That's a good point actually. Only if you're saying only if the initial values are same, we can consider the population. I mean, we can consider them to be adding. Yes, you can do that. I mean, that's one point wherein we have to put our minds. That's the reason we are trying to cross verify the answer. So we want to be sure that if adding up the percentages is giving the right answer, yes or no. That's one reasons why we are trying to verify that. If we, let's say, if we had got a wrong, if the verification did not work, then obviously what we would do, we would just go with the option verification method. This is an alternate method for the option verification. That's the reason I have done it as second method, not the primary method. Okay, that's actually a good question, 5K. That is how we need to understand the things. Only if the initial values are equal. Like we don't know if they were equal. We never knew that if they are equal or no. What we did, we just considered them, and then we saw, okay, there is a change here. Okay. 5K8. Is that okay? Shall we move on to the next question? All right. Okay. So, what happened? Yeah. Next question is on your screen. 7C6. I'm already recording the meeting here. You will get the files, but you can't be inactive here. Okay. You have to be active, and only then you will get the files. I'm seeing that only 5 or 6 people are active, so I don't find any reason to provide you the recordings later. The remaining people, however, you're not active, you're not participating, doesn't make any difference. All right, the next question on your screens. There are two equal numbers, x and y. X is increased by 1623 percentage and y is decreased by 1623 percentage. By what percent is the value of x more than the value of y? Now you see the question very carefully. What does that say? Now 5K8. Now you see something here. There are two equal numbers x and y. One is increased by 1623 percentage and the other is decreased by 1623 percentage. Now the question says by what percent is the value of x more than the value of y? Now you need to understand, when the question says by what percent is the value of x more than value of y, that means he's talking about the final values, not the initial, because initial values we know they both are equal. Okay. Now there's one small, I should say, not a trick, but there is a catch in this question. Like there is something in this question that you need to understand to do it in an easier way. I'll let you know once you're done. Okay, Ramu has the option B. Very good, Ramu. Option B again says 20. Okay, 5K it also goes with 20. 5R3 goes with 20. Very good. So what is the values that you're trying to consider? Are you considering any values for X and Y? How are you doing it? 100. Okay. So 100 when increased by 1623 percentage, what will be the value? What will be the value of 100 after increasing by 1623? Then what will be the value when you reduce 100 by 1623? Yep, that's right. Equal increment and decrement is what we are talking about here. Nicely put, 5K. How much ever you are increasing, that much you are decreasing it. And you're trying to finally calculate by what percentage is the value of X more than the value of Y. That is the numbers that finally you're trying to get. Just a second. I'm thinking something. Okay, wait. All right, you can consider the values of 100 and try and do it, or just consider the value as 1. Consider the value both X equals to Y equals to 1, and you can also do it the same way, or take it 100, increment and decrement both by 1623 percentage, and you will arrive at the 20%. I was just thinking if we can make a difference over here, like let's say if I increase the value of 100 by 10%, and if I reduce the value of 100 by 10%. So here my value will be 110, here my value will be 90. Now you are asking me, okay, this is X, this is Y, and now this is the final X and this is the final Y. Now you're asking me how much value is 110, like by what percent is the value 110 more than the value 90 is what you're asking. So this is more than 20, I mean this is 20 there, okay, and you're trying to calculate the value based on what? Based on the value of Y. uh, I'm still thinking, should I take the value of Y as the initial value 100, or should I take the value as the final value 90 is what I'm trying to think. If that is true, if this is true, if I have to take the original value, then it is 1 by 5 into 100, that is like 20 percentage. Now this I can also prove you with the other percentages, like 100 increased by 30 percentage and 100 reduced by 30 percentage. If this is what I can consider, so this becomes 130 and this becomes 70. If you see the difference over here, this will be 60. Okay, if you say the 60 is difference, and if I take it to the original value, This will be 1 by 3. Then this doesn't hold true. Now this becomes 33%, right? Now when you say that it's the same anyway, you can also consider 5 or 3. You can also check this one. So 100 when increased by 20% and 100 when decreased by 20%, you can see that it is 120 and this is 80. And as you said, like let's say the difference is 40 and the initial value is 100. So this will be 2 by 5, which is 40%. You see, there's a difference. It's not always going to be 20%. And I don't think he's talking in terms of the original value. So that's the reason I stopped from like I wanted to do it in this way, but I refrained myself because I don't see a proper reason of why to consider this one because the percentage here is different. So when I increased 100 by 1623 and when I reduce 100 by 1623, there's a difference. So this is 100 plus 1623 and this is 100 minus 1623. So this will be minus 1523 and this will be 1723. Yes. Okay. So yeah, now if you calculate that, maybe you are going to get 20% only in this case, not in all the cases. I thought we can try and find out that, I mean, find an algorithm or something for this question, but no, no, it depends on the numbers maybe. All right. Okay. So I thought we can find out something from here, but it's fine. So the question is the question. So we have the answer as 20%, and we're just seeing this on this one as any other question, not a generic statement that we can find out from this question. There's nothing like that. Okay. All right. The next question on your screens, everyone. Next questions on your screens. Next question is on your screen. A table and two chairs cost together $400. If by selling the chairs at 10% loss and table at a 10% profit, a total of 5% profit is made, what is the cost price of a chair? What is the cost price of a chair? That's what we are looking at. So we have one table plus two chairs, which together cost you 400 rupees. And he's saying each chair is sold at a loss of 10% for one. Okay, and the table is sold at a profit of 10%. The total profit is 5%. Is saying total profit is 5%. Okay, now he wants you to find out the cost price of this chair. Cost price of this chair. See, cost price, uh, profit, cost again, loss. You see, there is a profit and loss here. Topic profit and loss is involved. Yeah. So I want you to spend some time. Just take a minute. Take a minute to understand it. I'll write the equations. I'll write the final value. So this will be 420. The final value is 420 according to him because 5% profit kada. So initial cost price is 400. So 5% profit will make it 420. 10% is 40. 5% is 20. This is the final value. Now just have a look at it. Try and solve it. Again, you can go with multiple methods. First one you can always choose is the option verification. You can go with them. There's no problem in that. You can do the option verification there. Go ahead with that if you choose to. Else, find a method. Just try and jog your mind to find to see how you can do it. Yes, Sharma. . Yeah, Sharma. What's your question? Yeah. If by selling the chairs at 10% loss, each chair 10%, both the chairs 10%, it may be the same one, right? Let's say the chair costs some 100 rupees. There are two chairs. Okay, okay, if two chairs cost is 200, each chair cost is 100. So this one is 10%, this one is 10%. So you lose 10 rupees here, you lose 10 rupees here. Together you lose 20. But here, if you see on together, all together 10%, again it is 20. So it's the same. Each chair sold at 10% loss, both the chairs sold at 10% loss is the same, Sharma. All right, amendment is done. So firstly, checking on with the option verification part. Um, if you say this, let's say, I mean, I would not go with the option A. I'll tell you why, but still, let me verify that one too. So if the cost of the chair is 25 rupees, that means the cost of two chairs will be 50 rupees. Okay. If cost of two chairs is 50 rupees, that means the cost of table will be how much? The remaining 350 will be the cost of table. Now, he says that each chair is sold at a loss of 10%. So that means the total will be a loss of 40. I mean, total will be a loss, and then the total selling price of chairs will be 45, and the table is sold at a profit of 10%, which is 35 added to that, so that is 385. Upon adding these two, this is not equals to 420. It is equals to 430 actually. Okay, so option A will not be our answer straight away. And then checking with the option B. Option B, which is 75 rupees. So if one chair costs you 75 rupees, two chairs will cost you 150. And 10% loss is minus 15 from that, that is 135. So each table will cost you how much? If 150 is the cost of two chairs, table will cost you how much? 250. So 10% profit will make it 275. Upon adding 135 and 275, how much are we going to get? We are going to get 410, which is again not true. You should be getting the value of 420, not 410. Next with option C, 100. If it is 100, the cost of each chair, then cost of two chairs will be 200, and the loss of 10%, which makes it 180. Then the cost of the table would be how much? Sorry, cost of chair will be sorry, table will be 200. Again, increment of 10%, 220. If you add these two, it will be 400. So not true again. Check with the option D, 150. So if it is 150 cost of each chair, so cost of two chairs will be 300. That means loss of 10% is how much? 270 here. And if each chair costs you 150 and two chairs costs you 300, then the table's cost would be 100. So a profit of 10%, 110. If you add these two, again it is 380. What? None of the options is true. None of the options is true. 50, you're getting it. Okay. All right. So in that case, okay. In that case, okay. So in such cases, option verification might not work all the time. All right. So let us see how else can we do this kind of questions. Okay. Option verification is not working, but let me just take this top part of the screen and see if we can solve this using a method or a concept anyhow. Okay. Let me also erase this part. I mean, we can easily try and understand, or we can easily try and change the question saying, so it is not the cost of one chair, it is cost of two chairs. So 100 here can go as the answer because cost of each chair will be 50 in that case. We can easily say that. We can easily change the question saying, okay, this is for two chairs, not a single chair, and this is what we can do. But I don't want to do that. I'm saying if we can find an equation wherein we can we can find out, or we can apply some kind of concept onto this. So let us check what will be it, what will be the thing here. All right, so if you observe it carefully, what, okay, I'll dictate what I am thinking in the mind so that we both are on the same page when I'm doing the solution. Okay, so just a second, let me hide this. Yeah, so 400 is actually divided in the terms of one table is to two chairs, 1:2 ratio. Okay, it is divided in the ratio 1:2. So when I'm saying it is divided in the ratio 1:2, that means like the first part will be 1/3 into 400 here, and the second part will be 2/3 into 400. Yeah, this is what is happening. So the cost of chair could be somewhere close to this one, and the cost of table would be somewhere close to this one. Not the cost, but the total price is divided into this part. Do you agree till here? Do you all agree so far? Yes, no. Guys, how did I write 1:2? One table is to two chairs, right? So I just tried and made it like, okay, the total cost is divided as 1:2 pricing of the chairs and the table and the chair. So I just have the ratio, I mean, the ratio value or the absolute value, not the absolute value, the ratio value is 1/3 into 400. Here it is 2/3 into 400. Okay, so far it's fine. And finally, he says 420. By selling the chairs at 10% loss and table at 10% profit, total of maybe the total cost, maybe table can cost 300, then this approach can work. Yeah, if table can cost 300, then your option verification should be different. Yeah, I mean, that way, I mean, according to the answer that you got 50, you can check that. And how exactly did you get 50, Sharma? Okay, let me just see. Just give me a second. Oh, okay. And you took those kind of equations. So you're saying like you'll just take one as the value, and then you increase and decrease these, and then try and find the values from here. Oh, okay. This is very traditional method, right? From here, yeah. Ramu, just give me a second. I'm not able to find the, where is this? Okay. Yeah, Ramu. Maybe yeah, you can do this one, but I'm thinking like what else could be done? He said 10% loss. Yes, 10% loss. 10% loss on each chair, right? Or 10% loss on both the chairs. Even that is all, the both are same. Yeah, both the chairs. Yeah. So like that's what I'm saying. You're saying that okay, if it is single chair and if it is both the chair, there will be a difference. I don't think so, because if single chair costs you 50 and 50, 10% on this, 10% on this will be 45, this will be 45, right? So total ఎంత అవుతుంది అప్పుడు 90. Similar గా, okay, if you consider both the chairs together it is 10%, then both the chairs will cost 100 rupees, 10% loss will get it to 90. సో రెండు ఈక్వల్ కదా అప్పుడు కూడా, దాంతో ఏం పెద్ద డిఫరెన్స్ ఉండదు మరి అలాంటప్పుడు. Okay. Okay. No, just I'm not sure why is this happening? So according to the answer that we got, so you'll have the table's value as 300, and each chair will cost you 50. That is 10% each correct అయినా once check సరా. అదే అంటున్నా 10% ఈచ్ అవ్వనివ్వు 10% అన్ని రెండిటిపైన కలిపైనా కూడా ఒకటే వాల్యూ వస్తుంది కదా రాము. ఇక్కడ వెరిఫికేషన్ ఉంది కదా చూడు. చైర్ ఓకే వెయిట్ నౌ ఐ గాట్ దిస్. సో చైర్ 100 అవుతుంది. Then you see the 400 is actually in terms of 3:1, not 1:2. All right, fine. So maybe for this question, just take this method for now, the traditional method for now, but I don't think I'll be happy with that method, just because no, I'll never be happy with that method. Just give me a second. Let me see if I had any time in like have such kind of problems anywhere else. All right, I don't have such problems anywhere else too. Yeah, 5 or 3. The ratio of cost, yeah, but that's not working too. So if at all, okay, let's say, yeah, let's just think about this in a different way. Now, uh, if I think of this question in terms of this part, like ఒకవేళ ఒకవేళ ఇది 2 chairs గురించి అయి ఉంటే, like if it says the cost of 2 chairs find out చేయండి అని, then whatever the options you see here, then you can verify the options కదా. As I told you in the beginning, we can just say that the question is wrong. The question should be here 2 chairs. Then అప్పుడు ఏమవుతుంది, 2 chairs cost 100 కాబట్టి ఇంకొక దాని టేబుల్ కాస్ట్ 300 ఉంటుంది. Then you can say okay, now fine. With this, if I increase it by 10% and if I reduce it by 10%, it is not going to make much difference because it's going to be 330, this is going to be 90. Adding up both will get us 420. అది మనం ఫాలో అయిపోవచ్చు కావాలనుకుంటే డైరెక్ట్ గా. Like if you're seeing this thing, you can straight away follow that point, wherein you say that the question has to be framed in a different way. The question should say that the cost of we need to find the cost price of 2 chairs. అప్పుడు the cost price of 2 chairs అవుతుంది కదా, సింగిల్ చైర్ కాకుండా. Then uh, you can just come to a conclusion for that. Okay, అట్లా చేయొచ్చు ఒకవేళ క్వశ్చన్ రాంగ్ అనుకుంటే. బట్ ఐ డోంట్ వాంట్ టు డూ దట్. దట్స్ ద రీజన్ ఐమ్ ట్రైంగ్ టు ఫైండ్ అవుట్ అదర్ వేస్ టు సాల్వ్ ఇట్. ఇఫ్ నాట్ ఆప్షన్ వెరిఫికేషన్ ఇంకేం చేయొచ్చు, లైక్ ఇదే ఎగ్జామ్లో రిపీట్ అయితే అప్పుడు మనకి లైక్ దెన్ వీ విల్ నాట్ హ్యావ్ దిస్ ఆప్షన్ ఆఫ్ చేంజింగ్ ద క్వశ్చన్స్, రైట్? సో ఐఎమ్ థింకింగ్ టు ఫైండ్ అ కాంక్రీట్ సొల్యూషన్ ఫర్ దట్. దట్స్ వాట్ ఐవ్ బీన్ థింకింగ్. It's okay, fine. For now, let's just park it aside. Don't worry. Don't worry. At times it happens. At times it happens. No worries there. Okay, I'll go to the next question for now. Let's not break our heads on this one particularly. Let's just move ahead to the next question. The next question. Two merchants sell each an article of rupees 1,000. Okay, I have a huge solution by Ramu. Okay, brainly search. Fine. అది కూడా మొత్తం చేయలే కదా రాము, వాళ్ళు కూడా సగమే ఉంది కదా అది. So you see, you check that, don't worry. But I mean, don't check that right now, Ramu. అది స్క్రీన్ షాట్ తీసుకోండి కావాలంటే క్వశ్చన్ తర్వాత చేసుకోవచ్చు. But now let us get back to this one కదా. Yeah, all right. Okay, next question on your screens. Two merchants sell each an article of rupees 1,000. I mean, for rupees 1,000 sell, they are saying. So this is the selling price. See again, profit and loss. If merchant A computes his profit on cost price and merchant B computes his profit on selling price, Usually you tell me, how is profit computed? How is profit calculated? On CP, on the cost price, or on the selling price? How do you calculate the cost price? How do you calculate the profit all the time? How should we calculate the profit? Should that be on the cost price or should it be on the selling price? Always remember, it's on the cost price. Okay, ఎప్పుడైనా సరే ఒక చిన్న like basic thing you need to understand, like basic thing you have to have in the mind is always like whenever you have a differential value, that is the difference of final and the initial value, you're always going to compare it with initial value to get the change, to get the percentage change. When you are saying percentage change in the value, you are always comparing it to the initial value. ఇది mind లో ఉంచుకోండి. So profit is always calculated in terms of the initial value, that is a cost price itself. Okay, sorry. So here it says merchant A is computing his profit on the cost price, whereas merchant B is computing his profits on selling price. They end up making profits 25% respectively. By how much is the profit made by B greater than A? There will definitely be a difference, kada. When you calculate your profit on cost price and when you calculate your profit on the selling price, there will definitely be a difference there. Okay, so now he's asking, by how much is that difference greater? I mean, how much is that difference? Firstly, you find out that and see if B is greater than to A. If B is greater than to A, how much is it greater? By how much percentage is it greater? That is the whole question now. And the first statement of the question clearly tells you what is the selling price. Okay, so the selling, there are two merchants. Let's say merchant A and merchant B, kada. So he's selling it at 1,000 rupees. He is selling it at 1,000 rupees also. Okay, now when I say selling it, that means what? Cost price plus profit will be this one, will be the selling price. Yeah, cost price plus selling price. I mean, cost price plus profit will be this selling price. ఎందుకంటే like you know the basic definition of profit, right? What is the basic definition of profit? Is equals to selling price minus cost price. So now I'm saying selling price will be here equals to cost price plus profit. అది basic understanding కదా. ये तो basic understanding है, सबको समझ में, सबको याद रहना चाहिए वो. तो यहाँ पे then you see here the cost price here 1,000 equates to cost price plus profit. Here it equates to cost price plus profit. Both are same. Now, second statement, if merchant A computes his profit on cost price and merchant B computes his profit on selling price, end up making 25% respectively. That means here the profit percentage is 25%. Yeah, but here you're not yet making the profit percentage here because you know that the profit is calculated on selling price. Okay, it's calculated on selling price. So firstly, you can find out the cost price of this one and see, and then go ahead with the next steps. Yes, take a minute and try and solve it. Take a minute to solve it. Can you see the screen still? I see the screen has gone blank for me. Can you see the screen? Yeah, okay. For me, it's just black. Just a second. Give me a second. Maybe something issue with my PPT in my system. Yeah, I think now my screen is visible. Okay, now, okay, the answers. All right, 593 says option B. Fine, let's see 593. You need to understand one thing here. When you're having the profit on the cost price, that means the selling price is how much now? Selling price is 125%, right? Selling price is 125%. Ika, in terms of option, I mean, in terms of person A, in terms of person A, what you're seeing there, the selling price 1,000 is 125%, is 125%. of cost price. Why I am saying 125% of cost price? Because the 25% is the profit, right? So total it is 125% cost price. So if this is 125%, how much will be 100%? If 125% is 1000, how much will be 100%? You reduce this by 20%, right? Yeah, it will be 800. Very good. So the cost price is 800. Now you know the cost price of that article. The cost price is 800 in both the cases. The cost price is same on both the cases. In the case of person A and in the case of merchant B also. Continue. No, I just gave a hint in between. Yeah, you can just continue and try and solve it. And once you solve it, just drop your answers in the chat box. Don't be silent there. I'm just trying to give you a hint here. Like, how do you look at that problem, Ani? If you observe carefully, ఇక్కడ profit ఎంత వచ్చింది ఇప్పుడు? Like, okay, let us get into the solution of this question then. It's more than a minute. Let's get into the solution. I'll just erase this part. I need this space here. Okay. Yeah, let me get that. Now, how much is the profit you found here? The profit is what? What is the profit here? 200. Now, the question clearly says the profit in both the cases is 25%. So, ikkada ఇది 25% అయినప్పుడు, now here it is 25%. So there is an equal increment on the other side of the merchant, I mean, on the other merchant also, right? On the merchant B. On the merchant B, selling price is 1000. And he says the profit is calculated on this one, and that is 25%. So if you calculate profit on CP, how do you calculate it? You say P by CP into 100, right? Profit by cost price into 100. Idi. But in this case, you're saying it is calculated on SP, that is P by SP into 100. This is what you're looking at. So if you check the profit exactly, it will be how much? 25 by, sorry, profit percentage is 25, right? Okay, sorry. Now, can you calculate the profit from here? I want you to calculate the profit from here. So he's saying 25% is the value. Find out what is the profit value from here. Find out what is the profit value from here. Did you understand why are we doing this one? $250. All right, very good. So you need to understand something over here. Why did we do this? Firstly, to find out the profits, or firstly to find out the relation between these two, you need to understand something that in the first case, the selling price is equal. I mean, the selling price is equivalent to the cost price plus profit. Even in the second case, it should have been the same. But you see that the profit percentage is calculated on the selling price in the second case, and whereas in the first case, it is calculated over the cost price. That's the reason you firstly found out this part. Okay, the part number one, and I'll name it as part number two. And if you have question, just tell me the number where you have the doubt. Okay. So if you see the part number one, the selling price is 100,000, and we know that the profit is already 25%. Like we have that in the question that the profit is 25%. So if the profit is 25%, that means the selling. Okay, confused now. All right, let me erase everything on screen and do it once again. Don't worry, you can do it that way. Fine. So let me go with merchant A here. The variable చాలా రాష్ట్రం కదా అందుకే maybe. So merchant A selling price is 1000. We don't know what is cost price, but we know the profit percentage is 25%, right? Profit percentage 25%. That means selling price is 125%. Kada. If cost price is 100%, I'm not saying the value 100. It will always be 100%. Right? A number is always 100% of itself, and selling price is always cost price plus profit. ఈ పాయింట్ అర్థమైందా క్లియర్గా? ఫస్ట్లీ ఇది చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్, ఇక్కడ ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఇది. ఈ పాయింట్ అర్థమైందా అందరికి? डिड यू अंडरस्टैंड दिस वन? ये समझ में आया क्या सबको? ये इंपॉर्टेंट है थोड़ा यहाँ पे. रोहन, आर यू फॉलोइंग? रोहन, एक बात, like, no, understand one thing here. Whenever you are saying profit percentage, like whenever you are saying इस पे profit आया, then let's just take an example. Okay, the cost price of an article is, let's say, 100 rupees. The selling price is 120. Now the profit you achieved is 20. Okay, just this is an example we are looking at. This is an example we are looking at. Okay, ये तो सही है, ये समझ में आ गया. Now you tell me how much percentage is the selling price of the cost price? How much percentage is the selling price of cost price? Do you understand that question? I'm asking, what is 120? What percentage is 120 of 100? No, it's like you incremented it by 20. You incremented it by 20, Ramu, but I'm asking in terms of percentage. Yeah. You increased it by 20%, kada. You increased it by 20%. The profit percentage here is 20%. So selling price is 120% in the whole. Selling price is 120% in the whole. How? If I say the cost price is 100, then the selling price will be 120. If I say the cost price is 200, then the selling price will be 120% of that. Selling price will be 120% of that. Okay. Similarly, यहाँ पे, when you look at this point, here we are saying the profit percentage is 25%. Okay. Then let's say, not like let's say, but even if the cost price is 1, 2, 3, 4 or anything, or even 100 or 200 or anything, each number is 100% of itself. Do you agree with this point? Every number is 100% of itself. Guys, read this and understand this point. Every number is 100% of itself. Do you agree to this point? Do you agree to this one? Like 1 is 100% of itself. So if I say 1.2, that is definitely 120%. If I say 100, okay, if I say 500 is a value, 500 is a number, 500 is 100% of itself. Do you agree to that? Rohan, 5K8, 593, 599, others, Datrija, everyone. I want you to answer this point. Are you understanding this? Like, this is going to be important moving ahead for the other questions also. I want you to understand this point. रोहन, कुछ समझ में आ रहा है यहाँ पे? ये भी कंफ्यूज हो रहा है? ठीक है. All right. Answer is 50, Sharma. That's okay, but let us try to understand this concept here, Sharma. Okay, Rohan, Datrija, and understand others also. Just try to understand this point. I am telling you one thing. Every number is 100% of itself. I'm asking you, do you agree or no? Every number is 100% of itself. Like for say, 1, okay, 1 is 100% of itself. It's a whole thing, right? 1 अपने आप में 100% है. You're not comparing it with anything else. Tatrija, you're not comparing it with anything else. 1 is 100% of itself. Okay, if I have to give you an example, uh, we are always trying to consider 100 as a assumption value, as a value. 100 is 100% of itself is what, according to the statement. According to that statement, that is what I want to prove. How am I going to prove that? You can simply say, okay, how do you find out A percentage of B? A by B into 100. Kada? So I am saying 100 by 100 into 100. How much do you get? 100 percentage. What is A percent of B now? 100 is what percent of 100? 100%. Ratrija, understood that point? Ramu, thanks for that equation there. Ratrija, understood this point? Rohan, ये भी समझ जाओ. If I am saying 500 is 100% of itself, what do I mean? 500 is a 500, I mean 100% of itself, like 500 by 500 into 100. Like what is it? It is 100% of itself, right? When you are saying 80% of 100, what do you mean? You're meaning 80 by 100 into 100? Yeah. तो तभी तो जाके आपको 80% मालूम हो रहा है ना. But you are comparing it with the initial value. Why are you comparing it with the initial value? Because initial value is a whole in itself. Initial value is always a 100% in itself. अभी समझ में आ गया point? Did you understand this point now? Everyone else? Everyone else understood this point? Can I erase that thing on the right side of my screen? Yeah? Okay, fine. Just give me a second. Let me erase this point. Now, why is that important to understand? Because whenever we are saying, okay, while I'm erasing it, I'll also talk. Whenever we are, I mean, here at this particular point, and this for this merchant A, the selling price is already 25% more than the cost price. But do we know what is the cost price? We don't know the cost price. But cost price can be any number, but it is 100% in itself. Yes or no? Do you agree? Do you agree? Cost price, it could be any value, but is it not 100% in itself? Yes or no? Do you all agree? Guys, respond. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Shh. Do something so that I need to know that you're awake. Alright, yeah, वो तो सही है ना? Then, in that case, that's the reason I'm saying selling price here is 125 percentage of cost price, because over the cost price you're adding it, right? That's the reason we consider, okay, 125 percentage is 1000. Then how much will be 100 percentage? Because if you calculate 100 percentage, you are going to find out what is the cost price value. Okay, Rohan, यहाँ तक समझ में आया? Rama, did you understand till here? Sharma, did you understand till here? Sharma, I guess Sharma, you got it already. Dhatilja, understood till here? 599, 5K8, others? So far, so good? 75? Yeah, ये cover कर दे मैंने. Then find out the value of 100% here. Find out the value of cost price here, please. 125 is 1000. What will be 100%? You can do it in multiple ways. You can do the cross multiplication, or yesterday, as we discussed yesterday, we spoke something about scaling, right? You remember about scaling we spoke? We spoke about scaling up, scaling down, scaling up or down. So 125, if you reduce it by 20%, you will come to 100, because 10% is 12.5, 20% is 25. If you subtract that, you will reach 100. Similarly, ఇక్కడ 20% if I remove, 1000 minus 20% is 1000 minus 200, which is 800, right? The value of cost price here is 800. Not just here, the article's cost price is 800 now. Is that clear? Is that clear? So what is the profit value here? What is the profit value? 200. What is the profit value, guys? 200. Is that clear so far? Point number 1 clear for everyone? Box number 1 clear for everyone? Katija, Rohan, others, Ramu. Box number 1 clear. Shall we go on to the merchant B? Shall we go on to the merchant B? Let's do it slow and steady, don't worry. Merchant B. Now, coming to the merchant B, we know that selling price is saying it is 1000. The profit percentage is calculated on selling price, not on cost price. It is calculated on selling price, not on cost price. Okay, now, so if you calculate profit percent on selling price, this is how we can represent that. Okay, and you already know that the cost price is 800 from the previous thing. You already know the cost price is 800 for that, because the article is same article they're selling. Now I want you to find out the profit from here, the profit value, not the percentage, but the profit value. Find out the profit value similar, like using the same way as you have done it here. Find it out and just let me know, Ramu, others also. Are you thinking what to find out? I wanted to find out the value of profit here. I wanted to think about what to find out. Like if you're thinking what to find out the value of profit over here. So no, I don't think the cost price will be same because he says each an article. So sorry for that. So cost price will not be the same. They are not the same articles, I guess. Don't consider them to be the same articles. Don't do that. Just try to find out the cost price and also the profit from this case. It is simple, right? See, profit percentage is calculated on the selling price. And he's saying profit is 25 percentage of selling price. That is what it means, kada. And what is 25 percentage of 1000? रोहन, ये थोड़ा ये simple actually, ये समझने में better होगा आपको. He's saying profit is calculated on what? Selling price. If I calculate profit on the cost price, what will it be? Okay, let us take that one. Case number one, like merchant A. Guys, look at the screen. अगर confusing है तो just look at the screen. If you're getting confused anyway, look at the screen. In the case A, you found out that the cost price was 800. Now you are saying profit percentage is how much? 25%. How did you calculate the selling price? How did you calculate the selling price? You saw that, okay, profit is 25%, profit percentage is 25, then profit will be equals to how much? 25% of 800, right? 25% of 800. Just I'll mark this number as 3. Box number 3 clear? Point number 3 clear, everyone? Tatrija, Rohan, Ramu, 599, 5k8. Okay, 5k8 just left, all right. 7D2. Others? Point number 3 clear? Ikkada clear unda? Did you find out 25% of 800, that is like 200, and add it to this so that you got the selling price as 1000? Rohan, समझ में आया ये point? I am trying to go as slow as possible. Please do let me know if I still have to be in a better way. Okay, fine. Similarly, why did you find? I mean, okay, tell me why did you say 25% of 800? Because you know that the profit is always calculated on cost price, right? That's the reason you said 25% of 800. But in this case, it is clearly mentioned that profit is calculated on the selling price. Okay, so that's the reason we are saying 25% of selling price is the profit. Did you understand this point? What is 25% of 1000? 250. So what is the value of profit? 250. Is this one clear, Dhatrija? Idi ardhamaida meeku? And there were others too. Janvi, who's that? Yeah, understood this point, Rohan? Now you got it, Ramu? Now you got the values of profit from both of these. Now what do you need? You need by how much is the profit of B greater than A? Profit of B is how much? 250. Profit of A is how much? 200. So how much is it greater? By 50. अभी समझ में आ गया? Rohan, clear? Any question anywhere? Any doubt? अगर कुछ समझ में नहीं आया तो please ask me again. We can do it. See, one thing you need to be sure of is profit calculation. Profit calculation on either cost price or selling price. That is what you need to check. So if it is on cost price, what you will do? Cost price plus how much ever the percentage is there of cost price. If you do, you will get selling price. But if you're checking on the selling price, how will you get that then? Selling price के ऊपर जो भी percentage है, if you find this out, then only you will be able to find out the value of the profit there. Okay, it's not done on the cost price, it's done on the selling price. That's the difference there. Is that clear for everyone? Everyone else? Can I go to the next question? Can I see a few thumbs ups in the chat box? Can we see a few thumbs up in the chat box there? For moving on to the next question. 599. No, we decided on ending the session before 11:30, right? I mean, on at 11:30 exactly. So we said yesterday like we will be doing it from 9. Did we start at 9:30? Oh, sorry, we started at 9:30, kada. Fine, 9:30 to 12 was our session. So okay, should we take a quick 5 minutes break? Or do you need a 5 minutes break, or shall we continue? It's just half an hour more, like 40 minutes more we have. A quick 5 minutes break? What do you want us to do? Yeah, okay, just take a 5 minute break. Be back by 11. What's the time right now? What's the time right now? 11:20? Okay, be back by 11:25. Just washrooms, get some water, coffee, whatever. Just get back in 5 minutes. I'll also be back in 5 minutes. And others who are staying, you can solve this question on screen. I know 5 minutes is a very, very short break. Uh, just see to it that you're back by 11:30. Or if you're already back, you can just continue doing what is on the screen. But we'll start at 11:30. It's okay. 5 minutes is really short. Like I just walked out and came in. It's 5 minutes already. Very good, 45. We'll just discuss about that in 2 more minutes. All right, it's 8, and let's just get back. Yes, okay, 45, as you have solved it. All right, let's check that. Sorry, it's 8, not it's 11:30. I actually am in a different time zone, so yeah. Okay, let's check them. So a man sold 2 pens. Selling price of each pen was rupees 22. If he sold one at a profit of 20% and other at a loss of 15%, how much should the loss gain should the loss or gain be in the whole transaction? So yeah, the question is very straightforward. We know that the selling price was already given to us. The selling price is already given to us that it is 22 rupees in both the cases. If we sold one at a profit of 20%, that means again, see, there are two selling prices. First selling price is 22 and the second selling price is also 22. The first one is after a profit of 20%. The profit percent is 20%. That means the selling price is what? 120%. Yeah. And in the second case, the loss is how much? 15%. That means the selling price is what? 85%. 85% of what? 85% of the cost price. Here, 120% of what? 120% of the cost price. Okay. That means if 120 percentage is 22, you have to find out what is 100 percentage. Simple. Similarly, on the other side, if 85 percentage is 22, you have to find out what is 100 percentage, because 100 percentage will give you what? The cost price. But what are we trying to find out here? We are trying to find out how much loss or gain in the whole transaction. If you have to find out the whole loss or gain in the transaction, you need to firstly know what is the value of the profit, not the percentage, but the absolute value of the profit. How much is the profit or how much is the loss? Okay, find these out. How will you find this out? Only once you find out what is cost price. Only then you will know the exact value, right? Okay, 4A5 already has the answer. Very good, 4A5. The remaining, are you back, students? Are you already back? So we agreed on 5 minutes, but yeah, we took 10 minutes. It's okay. But 599. Okay, let's start it. I have written something on the screen for this particular question. Let's continue. I want you to take a minute and solve it. Take a minute and solve this one. 4A5 has the answer as option A. I want others also to check if that you're also getting the same answer, if that's the right answer. Very good, 4A5. You've been here. Have you not taken the break? Oh, all right. You took exactly the 5-minute break. Great. I mean, I told 10 minutes because I just walked out of the room and came into the room. It was 5 minutes already. I thought like it would never be enough or sufficient for you. So yeah, that's why I just told like let's extend 5 more minutes of like. Okay. And we already know if even if we say 5 minutes, people won't get back in 5 minutes. So yeah. Okay, what is the cost price in the first case? Did anyone find the value? 45. Did you find the value here or did you do it in a different method? 18.33. Okay. So 18.33. So how much would be the profit here? And in the second case, it is 25.88. Okay, very good. So what will be the loss here? And what will be the profit here? Find those out. So what will be the profit here? 22 minus 18.33 will be 3.67. This will be the profit. And here you need the loss. How much will be the loss? 3.88. So 3.67 is the profit. 3.88 is it 3.88? No, no, not 3.88. Sorry. Uh, yeah, is it 3.88? Yeah, it is 3.88, right? Yeah, this is the loss. So now, on the whole, you have, okay, this is loss, this is profit. The loss is, if you observe, the loss here is greater than the profit, kada? 4A5. In that case, the 21 paisa that you mentioned, should it be gain or loss? What should it be? For A5. You mentioned it as option A kada. Option A lo 21 paisa gain అని ఉంది. But if you observe it here, the whole transaction అయిన తర్వాత you see that the loss is greater than profit kada. That means you should have what? 21%, I mean 21 paisa loss. Yeah. So would you like to change your answer to option C? Yes. Very good, Rohan. Rohan, समझ में आया ये वाला? You did it? Okay, wait. We have a new student in the session. Sai Anirudh. Is this your first session in the last 3 days? Welcome to the session, man. I see you have no roll number there. Fine. Okay, everyone got this one? Understood, everyone? Shall I move on to the next question? Shall we move on to the next one? Thumbs up, thumbs down, yes, no? Okay. Next one. Next question is on your screens. So a housewife saved rupees 250, 2.50 in buying an item at rupees 25. Approximately how much percentage did she save in the transaction? So she bought some item at rupees 25, saving rupees 250, 2.50. So he's asking us, or the question asks us, how much percentage did she save in the whole transaction? So you might have a question here. So is this 250 saving included in this one, or is it excluded in this one? You read the question, this particular line twice to understand that. You have to read this particular section of the question to understand that, and you tell me, is it included in that price or is it excluded in that price? If you say it is included in that price, that means the cost price of that article, whatever she bought, was 2350, not 23, 2250. This is what it costed her. Or if you say excluded, then the actual price of the article would have been 27.50, wherein she saved 250 and bought it for 25, 25.00. And in this case, if it was uh, the cost price itself was 25 rupees. Okay, the cost price itself was 25 rupees, and she saved 2 rupees 50 paisa. So whatever she bought it was for 22.50. According to the statement, whatever is mentioned over here, in buying an item at rupees 25, that means she bought the article at 25 while she saved rupees 2.50. That means 2.50 is already, I mean, it's excluded from this 25, and the actual price of the article was 27.50. She saved 2.50 on this. Then she bought it at 25.00. So this is the understanding from that part of the question which is highlighted. So the actual thing is that it is excluded, it's not included. So now you're trying to find out how much is, or like you're going to, what the question will change into, what percentage is 2.50 of 27.50 is the question. Because you're trying to find out what? The total savings. So you have to find out from here. Savings again, as I told, it's always you need to find, I mean, you need to get the initial value. Is that clear, everyone? What is the percentage now? What is the percentage you got? How much percentage is that? All right. Lakshmi Narayana says it is 9%. 593 says it is option B, 9%. 5R3 also says it's option B, 9%. 599 option B 9%. How did you calculate that once again? 2.5 by 27.5. Yeah. Okay. 1 by 11. And if you remember the fraction to percentages that we had seen, the chart of fraction to percentages, 1 by 11 is always what? 9.99 percentage. Now you tell me, is it 100 by 11 or 1 by 11? Yeah, 1 by 11 percentage. Yeah, that's what. 9.99 percentage. Now you tell me, what do you want to consider? Should it be taken as 9 percentage or should be considered as 10 percentage? Because if you observe very carefully, there's a difference. That means like if I say 10% of 27.50, it is 2.75. If I say 9% of 27.50, how much is 9% of 27.50? It will be, okay, minus 27 here. So it will be somewhere close to 22.48. I'll leave it up to you. If you ask me, I'll not go with 10% straight away, because if I go with 10%, it will be, oh, it's 9.09. Sorry. Yeah, if it is 9.09, then it is 9%. Yeah. Thank you, 5R3. Yeah, it's 9.09. Yeah, the fraction chart. I forgot. It's 9.09. If it is 9.09, okay, it's 9%. Fine. Great. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. The next one. Very good. For the previous one, the next question. Very good, Rowan. A man spends 70% of his income. His income increases by 24%, and his expenditure also increases by 15%. Find the percentage decrease in his savings. I think we had seen something very similar to this one yesterday. Something very similar, Kada. Let's do it again. So a man spends 70% of his income. So again, just say 100 could be his income, reduce it by 70%. So his savings are 30%. So his savings are 30. Okay, his income increases by 24%. 24% increment in his income. That is 124. And his expenditure also increases by 15%. 15% increment in his expenditure. What is 15% of 70? 10% is 7, 5% is 3.5. So 15% is what? 10.5. Add to it, 80.5. What is the difference between, again, now what are the savings that he is going to make? 124 minus 80.5. Is it 124? Okay, 24 and 20, 44 and 43.5. Yeah. Now, what is the difference here? Now, what does he ask? The find the percentage decrease in his savings. Is there a decrease in his savings? I don't see a decrease in his savings, whereas I see an increase in his savings. There is obviously an increase in his savings, right? Just check that once. Can you please find out what percentage is the increase? Okay, you're saying it is 85% of 124. Why 85% of 124? His income increases by 25%. His expenditure also increases by 15%. How 85? Income, sorry, expenditure increases by 15%. Increases is a relative word. Increase is a relative word. Like that means you are comparing the initial value to this value. Then you are saying, okay, it has increased. So initial value is how much? 70. It has increased by 15%. Yeah. No, it is okay. It was 70%, but then we considered the income to be 100, right? Then we said, okay, 70% of his income is 70. That's the reason we consider it as 70 itself straight away. Four 65, 30 spent, 70 savings. No, man spent 70% of his income. 65. 65. ఇక్కడ question clear గా ఉంది. The question is very clear, right? What does the question say? Question says a man spent 70% of his income. That means this is his expenditure, right? How could this be savings? And 593, you are saying it's 85% of 124. How did you calculate 85% there? From where did you get 85 percentage? You are saying 70%, 70 increased by 15% is 85? No, right? 70 increased by 15% is what? 70 plus of 15% of 70, which is 10.5. Is 80.5, not 85. If you observe this one here, it is 13.5 by 30 to 100. This is the percentage that you're trying to find out. Yeah, 45% increase. All right, great. 614, 45% increase. Yes, it is an increment. I'm still thinking, why is that mentioned as a decrement over there? Okay, that's all right. It's maybe the question typing was wrong or something. I don't know. Like, I am not a big fan of uh, marking the question as wrong. I'm not a big fan of that. But like, as we see in the solution here, we have an increase in the savings. We don't have a decrease in the savings. It's like very evident over there. We're not talking without any proof. We have a proof over there. So yes, it's a 45% of increment. 65 అర్థమైందా? 465, did you understand why I said that 70 is spent, not 30? Yeah, okay. 593, the question is still correct. So you're saying find the percentage decrease in his savings. So you mean to say you want to compare the previous one, that is like you want to do it like 13.5 by 43.5 and then say that, okay, this is the reduction in the other way. In the other way, like other way around, you want to see the question? So how is there, okay, 593. I think you're still typing your explanation. Please do that. We'll wait. Don't worry. If you do it in this way, let's say you're comparing, you're trying to find out that how much was it less in the previous calculation. That is in the first case. This is the second case. Let's say in the first case, how much was it less? If you have to calculate that, you will be doing it in this way. Yeah, 593 definitely. I think I can. Yeah, you can unmute yourself now. Yeah, yeah,
So
593. You can
first,
speak.
100 అనేది ఇన్కమ్ అనుకుంటే 70% ఎక్స్పెండిచర్ సార్ అక్కడ ఇచ్చినట్టు.
అవును.
ఆ, మళ్ళీ ఇప్పుడు వాళ్ళు చెప్పినట్టే 15% అనేది ఇంక్రీజ్ అవుతుంది కదా సార్
ఎక్స్పెండిచర్ ఇంక్రీజ్
ఎక్స్పెండిచర్.
అవుతుంది. ఉమ్,
ఇప్పుడు 24% అనేది ఇన్కమ్ ఇంక్రీజ్ అయింది కదా సార్.
అవును.
ఇప్పుడు 85% ఎక్స్పెండిచర్ అనేది కొత్తగా ఇంక్రీజ్ అయిన ఇన్కమ్ మీద పెడతాం కదా సార్ మనం. కొత్త ఇంక్రీజ్ అయిన
85% అనేది
ఇన్కమ్
ఎక్కడ నుంచి,
వచ్చేసి వన్
85 అనే
ట్వంటీ ఫోర్
నంబర్
కదా
ఎక్కడ
సార్.
నుంచి వచ్చింది చెప్పు. 85 అనేది
ఫస్ట్
ఎక్కడ నుంచి వచ్చింది చెప్పు.
70% ఎక్స్పెండిచర్ కదా సార్.
అవును.
ఏ మ్యాన్ స్పెండ్స్ అన్నప్పుడు అది ఎక్స్పెండిచర్ కదా సార్.
అవును, అదే అదే రాసిన ఇక్కడ. ఓకే, కరెక్టే.
ఆ,
70%
ఇప్పుడు
ఆఫ్ వాట్?
15
ఇప్పుడు 70% అనేది
సెవెంటీ
ఎప్పుడు కూడా
పర్సెంట్
రిలేటివ్ కదా. ఇదే కదా మనం అనుకునే 70% ఆఫ్ ఇన్కమ్ కదా.
ఫస్ట్
ఇప్పుడు
ఇన్కమ్ ఒక 100
అవును,
అనుకోండి సార్.
ఇప్పుడు ఇన్కమ్ ఎంత అనుకున్నాం? 100. సో 70% ఆఫ్ 100 ఎంత అవుతుంది?
70.
70. అప్పుడు ఇది ఏంటి, పర్సంటేజ్ అబ్సల్యూట్ వాల్యూనా ఇది? ఇప్పుడు ఇదేంటి,
బోత్
అబ్సల్యూట్ వాల్యూనా పర్సంటేజా?
అబ్సల్యూట్ వాల్యూ కదా సార్.
ఓకే, అబ్సల్యూట్ వాల్యూ అనుకుందాం. ఇప్పుడు
ఆ,
నేనేమంటున్నాను, నెక్స్ట్ కేసులో ఏమంటున్నాడు, ఇది అబ్సల్యూట్ వాల్యూ, ఇప్పుడు ఇది
ఇప్పుడు
పర్సంటేజ్ కాదు.
124.
ఇప్పుడు ఇన్కమ్ ఇంక్రీజెస్ బై 24%. సో ఇంక్రీజెస్
వన్
బై
ట్వంటీ ఫోర్
అన్నప్పుడు
అవుతుంది.
ఇది కూడా రిలేటివా కదా? ఇది రిలేటివే కదా.
అవును, రిలేటివ్.
కంపేర్
అవును.
టు వాట్? కంపేర్ టు వాట్?
ప్రీవియస్ ఇన్కమ్.
ఇనిషియల్ ఇన్కమ్ కదా. ఓకే, ఇది ఇక్కడ వరకు క్లియర్. ఫైన్. సో అందుకే మనం ఏం చేసినాం, దీన్ని ఇంక్రిమెంట్ చేసినాం 124కి. దీన్ని ఇనిషియల్ ఇన్కమ్ 24% ఇంక్రిమెంట్ చేస్తే ఇది 124. ఇప్పుడు ఇది అబ్సల్యూట్ వాల్యూ కదా ఇది కూడా.
అవును.
ఓకే, నెక్స్ట్ ఏంటి ఇప్పుడు, అండ్ ఎక్స్పెండిచర్ ఆల్సో ఇంక్రీజ్ బై 15%. ఇప్పుడు ఇది రిలేటివ్గా
అవును సార్.
కంపేర్ టు వాట్? ఇనిషియల్ ఎక్స్పెండిచర్. అంతేనా? చెప్పు, లైక్ నో, యూ టెల్ మీ, ఐఎమ్ జస్ట్ ట్రైన్ టు రైట్ ఇట్ డౌన్ ఆన్ ద స్క్రీన్.
అంటే నేను అనుకున్న దాంట్లో ఇప్పుడు 124లో 85% అనేది ఎక్స్పెండిచర్ అయింది అనుకున్నా.
నేనేం
అప్పుడు
ఇప్పుడు నువ్వు
సంథింగ్
అట్లా అనుకుంటే అప్పుడు క్వశ్చన్ ఏం రేజ్ అవుతుంది అంటే, అసలు 85 అనే నంబర్ ఇక్కడ నుంచి వచ్చింది అని రేజ్ అవుతుంది.
అంటే ముందు ఎట్లనే 70% ఖర్చు పెట్టిండు కదా సార్. ఇప్పుడు
అవును, 70% ఖర్చు పెట్టిండు. మనం 70%
అవును.
ని ఒక అబ్సల్యూట్ వాల్యూ కింద కన్వర్ట్ చేసేసినాం.
ఉమ్,
ఓకే, ఒకవేళ నువ్వు అట్లా అంటే అప్పుడు ఏమవుతుంది అంటే, ఒకవేళ నేను ఇన్కమ్ ని 100 కాకుండా నేను ఇన్కమ్ ఏం చేస్తా అంటే 200 తీసుకుంటా. ఓకే, ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్
ఉమ్,
200 అనుకుందాం ఇన్కమ్ ని. అప్పుడు 70% ఎక్స్పెండిచర్ అంటే ఎంత అవుతుంది? 140 కదా.
140.
కరెక్టేనా? ఇప్పుడు ఎంత
ఎస్
మిగిలినట్టు
సార్.
సేవింగ్స్? 60. నెక్స్ట్ టైం ఇది 24% ఇంక్రిమెంట్ అయింది కదా. 10% ఎంత? 20. 20% ఎంత? 40. 1% ఇస్ 2, 4% ఇస్ 8. సో ఎంత మొత్తం ఎంత ఇంక్రిమెంట్ అవుతుంది? 248 అవుతుంది ఇది. కరెక్టేనా?
ఎస్ సార్.
ఇప్పుడు ఇక్కడ చెప్పి ఏమవుతుంది ఇప్పుడు మరి, ఎక్స్పెండిచర్ ఇప్పుడు ఏమైంది, 15% ఇంక్రిమెంట్ అవ్వాలి. ఇప్పుడు దేనికి ఇంక్రిమెంట్ చేస్తాం?
ప్రీవియస్ ఎక్స్పెండిచర్ కన్నా ఇంకా 15% ఇంక్రిమెంట్ చేద్దామని నేను అనుకున్నా సార్.
ఇప్పుడు ప్రీవియస్ ఎక్స్పెండిచర్ ఎంత? 140 కదా. 140 మైనస్ 15% ఆఫ్ 140. ఇంతేనా?
సార్ ఎప్పుడైనా కానీ మనం ఎక్స్పెండిచర్ ఇన్కమ్ ని బట్టి పెడతాం కదా సార్.
అవునమ్మా, ఇప్పుడు ఎక్స్పెండిచర్ దేనికి ఇంక్రిమెంట్ అయింది? అండ్ ఎక్స్పెండిచర్ ఇంక్రీజెస్ బై 15% అన్నప్పుడు, ఇంక్రీజెస్ అనేది ఒక కంపారిటివ్ వర్డ్ కదా, ఇంక్రీజెస్ బై అనేది.
ఎస్ సార్.
కంపారిటివ్ వర్డ్ అయినప్పుడు దేనికి ఇంక్రిమెంట్ చేస్తాం ఇంకా? నువ్వేమంటావు అంటే 70%కి 15 యాడ్ చేద్దాము, అప్పుడు 85% అవుతుంది అంటున్నావు.
అవును, అట్లయితే నాకైతే ఏ
ఆ,
ఆప్షన్ వచ్చింది సార్.
అట్లయితే ఆప్షన్ ఏ 38% వస్తుందా?
ఉమ్,
మ్మ్. నేనేమనుకుంటున్నా అంటే, ఎక్స్పెండిచర్ ఆల్రెడీ మనకు ఒక వాల్యూ అబ్సల్యూట్ గా తీసుకున్నాము, సో దానికి మనం దాన్ని కంపేర్ చేస్తున్నాం కాబట్టి 140 మైనస్ 15% 140. ఇట్లా అనుకుంటే ఇది ఏమవుతుంది అప్పుడు? 21, 140 మైనస్ 21, ఇది 119 అవుతుంది. 119 అవుతుంది ఇక్కడ. ఓకే, సో జస్ట్ ఒకసారి ఫైనల్ వాల్యూ చెక్ చేస్తున్నాం. 128, 129, ఇది ఫైనల్ వాల్యూ అవుతుంది. ఒకవేళ ఇది కన్సిడర్ చేస్తే, ఈ వాల్యూస్ కన్సిడర్ చేస్తే, అకార్డింగ్ టు వాట్ ఎవర్
అట్లయితే
యూ సే,
డిక్రీజ్ కాదు సార్.
అప్పుడు
ఇప్పుడు
అప్పుడు
మీరు
డిక్రీజ్
అనుకున్న
కాదు,
అప్రోచ్ లో
ఇంక్రిమెంట్ అవుతుంది.
డిక్రీజ్ కాదు. నేను అనుకున్న అప్రోచ్ లో డిక్రిమెంట్ అవుతుంది. అంటే పైన వచ్చిన లాస్ పైన దానికి కింద దానికి డిక్రిమెంట్ అనేది
ఓకే,
వస్తుంది.
సో నువ్వు ఇప్పుడు ఇవి రెండు యాడ్ చేసి 85% తీసుకుంటే డిక్రిమెంట్ అవుతుంది అంటున్నావు.
ఎస్ సార్.
ఓకే, అట్లా వేసుకుని నీకు ఆప్షన్ ఏ కూడా వచ్చింది అంటారు ఆన్సర్లో.
ఎస్ సార్.
ఓకే. అండ్ హిస్ ఎక్స్పెండిచర్ ఆల్సో ఇంక్రీజెస్ బై 15%. బట్ ఐఎమ్ స్టిల్ నాట్ షూర్, ఎందుకంటే అకార్డింగ్ టు వాట్ ఎవర్ వీ హ్యావ్ డన్ సో ఫార్, ఎక్కడైనా సరే మనం ఎప్పుడైనా ఒక రిలేటివ్ వర్డ్ కానీ కంపరేటివ్ వర్డ్ కానీ యూస్ చేసినప్పుడు దాని ఇనీషియల్ వాల్యూ దాన్ని కంపేర్ చేసినాం కదా. సరే ఈ ప్రాబ్లం నువ్వు ఇది కరెక్ట్ అనుకుంటే మరి ఇంతకు ముందు చేసిన ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ అన్నిట్లలో అది మార్కుంటూ రావాలి కదా అన్నిట్లలో కూడా. ఒక కాన్సెప్ట్ అనేది ఎప్పుడు లైక్ అన్నిటికీ జనరిక్గా అన్నిటికీ కరెక్ట్గా ఉండాలి కదా, ఒకదానికి కరెక్ట్ ఒకదానికి ఉల్టా ఉండకూడదు. సో నేను అది ఆలోచిస్తున్నాను. నో రాము, ఇక్కడ మనం డిక్రిమెంట్ చేస్తాం రాము, ఇంక్రిమెంట్ కాదు. 15%, సారీ 15% ఇంక్రిమెంట్ అన్నాడా, ఇంక్రీజెస్ బై అంటే 161, సారీ ఇది 161. ఓకే. 10% ఇస్ 14, 161 ఇంక్రిమెంట్ చేసుకోండి. ఇది ఇక్కడ ఎంత వస్తుంది చూడు ఒకసారి వాల్యూ. ఇది ఇట్ విల్ బి సమ్వేర్ క్లోజ్ టు 60, 80, 87 or something. Just check this value once. All right. Okay. Sorry, ఒకసారి I'll also consider your case. If we consider your case, you're already getting the answer as option A. But నేను ఒకసారి చెక్ చేస్తాను మరి వేరే ఇది ఏది. I think it's from the Capgemini's question paper. ఇది క్యాప్జెమినీ 2020 క్వశ్చన్. అప్పట్లో యాప్టిట్యూడ్ ఉంటుండే క్యాప్జెమినీలో, ఇప్పుడు గేమింగ్ ఉంది. అప్పట్లో క్యాప్జెమినీ 2020 పేపర్ ఉంటుండే. ఐ హ్యావ్ ద క్వశ్చన్ ఒరిజినల్ పేపర్ విత్ మీ. ఒకసారి క్వశ్చన్ చెక్ చేస్తాం అండ్ వాళ్ళు అక్కడ ఏం ప్రొసీజర్ కానీ ఏం ఆన్సర్ చెక్ చేసినా నేను చూస్తాను ఒకసారి, సరేనా? ఒరిజినల్ పేపర్ చెక్ చేద్దాం. బికాస్ ఐ స్టిల్ ఐమ్ హైలీ doubtful on that part, 85% అనే part. But as you said, it satisfies the question. I'm satisfied with the way that you had explained it. But ఒకసారి యాక్చువల్గా క్వశ్చన్ చూద్దాం మనం దాన్ని. ఫైన్, ఇస్ దట్ ఓకే? నేను చూసి చెప్తాం దాంట్లో. ఊరికే లైక్ ఐ డోంట్ వాంట్ టు గివ్ యూ అ రాంగ్ ఆన్సర్, అట్ ద సేమ్ టైమ్ ఐ డోంట్ వాంట్ టు గివ్ యూ అ రాంగ్ మెథడ్ ఆర్ ఎనీథింగ్. మనం ఎప్పుడైనా ఒకటి ఫాలో అవుతున్నామంటే అది అన్నిటికీ అప్లై అయ్యేటట్టు చూసుకుందాం మనం. ఓకేనా? ఫైన్. సో I think you can note this question down to students. You can note this question down to, and then we'll proceed. రేపటి నుంచి, not రేపు, okay, today afternoon what we're going to do is day 3 afternoon. First ఒక half an hour we are going to go with a random question part. Random questions చేద్దాం. ఆ తర్వాత మిగతా 1.5 hour we will complete the topic of percentages. అంటే ఇంకా ఎన్ని క్వశ్చన్స్ నాకు తెలియదు. లెట్స్ సీ హౌ మెనీ క్వశ్చన్స్ we have. Okay, all right. Okay, percentage ఆల్మోస్ట్ కంప్లీట్ అయిపోయింది. మనకి ఇంకొక 2-3 క్వశ్చన్స్ మాత్రమే ఉన్నట్టున్నాయి. అవి కంప్లీట్ చేసుకుందాం మరి ఈ మధ్యాహ్నం. అది ఒకసారి కంప్లీట్ అయినాక దెన్ విల్ గో టు ద ర్యాండమ్ క్వశ్చన్స్ పార్ట్. ఇస్ దట్ ఓకే? ర్యాండమ్ క్వశ్చన్స్ పార్ట్కి వెళ్దాం. అది కంప్లీట్ అయినాక దెన్ విల్ గో టు ద నెక్స్ట్ టాపిక్. Do you all agree with that way of teaching, like that way of our progress ahead? Yeah. रोहन, समझ में आ रहा था हम लोग जो बात कर रहे थे आपको? Do you at least understand, or like you have no idea what we speak? Okay, you can speak Telugu then. Fine. All right, then with that good note, I think it's time for us to take a leave for the morning session and get back in the afternoon session. And definitely, ఇప్పుడు ఏవైతే 2 questions, like the 2 questions that we faced a bit of complications in, that is one question for the table and the chair, where the question itself we said like we'll change it. I'm not yet comfortable with that because I never like changing the questions. And the second question is this one, where 593 gave a good explanation of what he thinks should be the way we should see the question. But let me get back with proof. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to just give you something in the air. Whatever I say, you don't have to believe. You can ask me proof for everything I say because I can blabber anything all 3 hours. I don't want to do that. So, Andike, I'll get some proofs of how should it be evaluated, and then we'll go ahead with that. So, with that good note, I hope you enjoyed and learned something in this today's session, morning session, and let us meet back at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. I hope I'll have all of you again back then, and let's keep it charged up until then. So, see you again at 2. Bye for now. If you have any questions, I'm here. And I hope you learned something from this session. Did you? or do you like this way of classes, or interactive, communicative? Do you want it more, or just let me know if you have any suggestions or advices for myself. Okay. So yes, if you have any questions, I'll be here for the next 2 to 3 minutes, and then you can. I mean, then I'll be leaving. For now, you can leave. Thank you very much.